Madison Board's called to order. Ms. Humphrey, can you please call the roll?
President Thompson.
Present.
Vice President Kazi.
Here.
Member Gresham.
Here.
Member Holcomb.
Here.
Member Hunt.
Here.
All are present.
Thank you. First order of business, as I click on everything, is adoption of the agenda. Is there
Move to
any?
adopt the, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Jumping the gun.
Second.
It's a motion to adopt the agenda by Ms. Gresham, seconded by Mr. Holcomb. We'll go ahead and vote. Motion passes unanimously. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. I don't believe there's any need for an executive session today. Hearing none, next item on the agenda is communications and announcements. Superintendent Guerin.
Madam President, members of the board, cabinet, and guests, I'd like to have a tremendous thank you to our staff, students, parents, and community members for a really great first week of school. Through everyone's hard work, dedication, and the Madison community team spirit, and a lot of really warm weather, we had a great opening to the 25-26 school year. It takes a lot of work behind the scenes from our leaders and our staff and help from our community. So I really appreciate everyone's efforts. Later in the meeting, I will provide an overview of the opening of the school year as an information item. Congratulations to our administrative services team, hot off the press. On behalf of the Association of School Business Officials International, I'm pleased to inform everyone that the Madison School District has received the ASBO Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2024. Once again, many years in a row. This award represents a significant achievement and reflects our commitment to transparency and high-quality financial reporting. So congratulations to your department. We were also informed that many schools were recipients of the AZPBIS Coalition Award. And as we know, PBIS is Positive Behavior Intervention Supports. It's a tiered system of support to encourage students' positive behavior. And so Level 2, which is Tier 1 Fidelity Awards, was Madison #1, Camelview, Rose Lane, and Simus Elementary. So that means they are really outstanding in their Tier 1 implementation and are building the Tier 2 and Tier 3 interventions. Next, Level 3, which is just really outstanding in Tiers 1 and 2, are Madison Meadows and Madison Park. And at Level 4, Tiers 1, 2, and 3 is MTA. So congratulations to all of those schools. I also want to let the parents know, if you haven't heard, and we've sent many emails, Parent Square is the one-stop shop for parent communication. And though you will receive emergency alerts and some emails without it, to really get all the information you need and have the full experience, please create a Parent Square account. If you have any questions, please call your school office or even call district office. We'll help get you set up. And we're really excited about the launch of that opportunity. That's all I have.
Thank you, Dr. Guerin. Board member reports. Mr. Holcomb, let's start with you today.
Thank you very much. Yes, I want to congratulate everybody, from the students, the parents and teachers, bus drivers, everybody, on, a wonderful start to the school year. That's a great, and I'm really looking forward to the rest of the year. We had a wonderful first opening of the PTO lunch. It's great to see that all the PTOs come, already talking about the excitement of what they're going to be doing this year. It's a great group of volunteers and really make our schools, hum along greatly. And what's also just, it's been building over the years, and it's become ingrained in the culture, is that the PTOs helping each other, working together for the different schools, and it was just a phenomenal experience. I was also glad to see the brochure for the Madison, the Madison series. And this year they've got a presentation series, a music series, and a matinee series. So check it out. It'll be a phenomenal year. So thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Holcomb. Ms. Causey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for an outstanding opening, even though we had the highest temperature in Phoenix in recorded history. It was tough to navigate that. I mean, I know as an adult, it's hard for me to be inside all day. So really respect all the staff handled that and how the kiddos managed their big feelings to want to probably be outside and play. I read something that kind of encapsulated how I felt about opening of schools for this school year. I wanted to read it. It's very short. Schools don't just open in August, they're rebuilt by teachers and staff who give their summer so our kids have a fresh start. The amount of work it takes to reopen a school is an overlooked miracle every year. And I really felt like that is a truism. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Gresham.
Thank you. Yes, I just want to welcome everyone back. And it seems like we had a great first week. I was out at Meadows on the first day directing traffic, so hopefully you can try to run me over, but it seemed to go well, even with the construction. And we had a great, what are we calling it with the teachers? The welcome back for the teachers.
New teacher orientation.
No, like, you know, our big one.
breakfast,
So yes, we gave away tons of gift cards and things for our teachers, and I got to learn a little ukulele from one of our teachers, so that was fun. And lastly, I have is I'm the board rep for the Education Foundation this year, and I think the next big event that we're having is the trivia night coming up. It's on September 20th, so a little over a month away, so get your tickets for that. It's a lot of fun. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Hunt.
I just want to start by congratulating everybody on a great start to the year. Mr. Brownlee and your peers, great job leading your schools during a really hot, chaotic time to get everybody back to school. So great, incredible job. Want to specifically say thanks to the transportation folks. I've got a bus rider, so I've watched that closely and navigating a really busy city and some really bad drivers in Central Phoenix, and are doing a great job. So just really want to tell them thank you. To the communications team, the role at a Parent Square has been awesome. I was at the PTO meeting, the Guild for MTA last night, and people were like clapping and stuff about it. It was kind of a weird thing to clap about, but I think those were people with multiple children in Madison who are happy to have it all in one place. Yep. Yeah, so great job there. To the PTOs, just really, excellent to see their commitment to bridging, the gap between parents and administration and students and the school board and all of those different components. So great to see them. And then finally, being around several schools this week, saw the SROs out. And just really happy to see that presence to maybe have some folks make some better decisions about how they're driving around our schools. Also very happy to see them having great interactions with students and students having great interactions with them, because I do think that's one of the strongest parts of that program is for students to have a positive interaction with law enforcement and for law enforcement to have a positive interaction with a student. So great job, everybody.
Thank you. I too want to echo my thanks to everybody for a great kickoff of the year. We started with the kickoff with all staff here at the Madison. I want to thank the entire community for all the donations that were made. I think we had about $6,000 in prizes, about 130-ish different gift cards that we were able to give out in what is a crazy mad raffle. But all that support was deeply appreciated. The first day of school was so much fun. I got time to help at Park with kids getting lined up for the first time for their classes or finding their schedules, and everything went smoothly there. And then I went later and helped over at Simus at lunchtime, and it was oddly, it wasn't quiet because lunch is never quiet, but it was not a loud lunch. All the kids, even the kindergartners, were like on their own opening things. And I had one kid look at me, a fourth grader, and say, "Are you new here this year?" And I said, "No, I'm with the district." And he was like, "Oh, okay, then you're okay to be here." But really appreciate all the students and staff making this first week and a half or so of both staff being on campus and then students making it successful. I want to also thank the PTO leaders who came to the PTO kickoff lunch. They really make everything possible to really support our teachers and our students in a way that that supplements what we can offer at the district. I want to thank everybody for that, and really, as was pointed out earlier, the cooperative mindset that all of them have about how they can help each other and really lean in, not just to help their own schools, but to help the entire district. I too have been celebrating Parent Square since Park was a test site, but want to encourage everyone to sign up for that. Not only can you see your kids if they are, you have multiple kids in the Madison district, but you can see your kids who aren't in the Madison district, who are in Parent Square as well. So having everything in one place, I think is such a game changer. I know when I get those messages, I can get them automatically. I can get them in a summary at the end of the day. It's so helpful to have everything in one place, and really want to thank the communications department for spearheading that effort, and excited for other parents to have access to that, and for the rest of our teachers to have access to it as well. Two things that are upcoming. Well, one's in motion right now. Students are taking their MAP tests right now, setting the baseline for their learning for the year, so we know where they're at. I know that seems like we do testing a lot, but our district uses MAP to help assess where students are throughout the year and gauge where they need support. So I want to thank everybody for cooperating with that. Make sure your kids get to bed and get a good meal for upcoming testing days. And then also at each of the schools, check your calendars, because we've got curriculum nights coming up where you can meet your teachers and find out more about what your kids will be learning throughout the year. And with that, we can move on to the consent agenda. Are there any items that need to be removed from the consent agenda? If not, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Kazi, seconded by Mr. Hunt. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Next item on the agenda is our call to the public. Pursuant to board policy, time has been set aside for a call to the public. This is an opportunity for individuals to address the entire board in a public setting to express their views or concerns. State law limits our ability to respond to comments made during call to the public. However, we hear remarks and ask our superintendent to follow up and to provide us with information regarding any issues that are raised. To keep us on schedule, each speaker has no more than 3 minutes. I don't believe we have any speakers who signed up virtually today, and by the looks of our enormous audience, I don't think we have anyone here signed
No
up.
calls to public.
Okay, no calls to the public. We're already on item 6, the very short board policies and first read. I know we've got a number of these catching up with state law changes and other policy changes. Dr. Guerin, take it away.
President Thompson, members of the board, cabinet, and guests. So I know you'll be very disappointed that I'm not going to go policy by policy this evening, but there was a retooling of Section B in the board policy manual. So I've shared all the policies with you, and some were just moved. Some language was revised for clarity, so some are deleted and moved to another section. So if they're very minor changes that aren't really impactful, I'm not going to highlight them tonight, but those were all provided for you in the weekly update along with in board docs. So happy to answer any question, of course. But what I'd like to do is highlight the ones with substantive changes and see if you have any questions. Tonight is a first read, so it is just an information item. I have the bulk of these, but Barb Marshall also has 2 of them. So I'm just going to jump around a little bit because I'm going to go over the ones that I think I'd like to bring to your attention. So first is policy BBA, board powers and responsibilities. So this one, they took several policies and, sorry, I thought that was on silent, several policies and moved them into BBA, and then a list of board member responsibilities from ARS 15341 replaced language related to legislation, executive, and appraisal functions. So specifically, they list the basic functions of the board according to statute, and they range from things like prescribing and enforcing policy to management of school property, all of the things board members do, but they made sure it was aligned with statute and then did a language cleanup. The next one I'd like to talk about is policy BBBA, board member qualifications. And they added an exception to this that board members related by affinity in the third degree, and I did, yes, Google what that is. So first cousins are in the third degree. So if there's at least 250 students or a county population of 500,000, board members can be related in the third degree. Policy BCA, board member ethics. This was revised in its entirety, and the legal reference was removed because the policy information was not statutorily based. So it's just updated language and the legal reference removed. Policy BCB, board member conflict of interest. There were minor revisions to align with two different statutes and also the uniform system of financial records. So this is really concerns when a board member has an interest in a company that the school district would like to do business with, and how we make sure we would navigate that type of situation. And again, that is aligned with the uniform system of financial records and statutory language. Next up is policy BDE, board committees. There was some information from policy BDF and BDE moved under here under subheadings advisory committee. Open meeting law language was added. And if you remember, there was some direction that if a board directs a committee to be made and the committee is going to make a recommendation directly to the board, those committees have to follow open meeting law. And so that just clarifies that and cleans that up and revises that policy. Policy BDG, school attorney. The school attorney was, this was revised to align with ARS 11532, and it allows the superintendent to direct other staff to consult with attorney and then the district to pay for that. And it's very clear if a governing board is going to reach out to an attorney, it has to be directly related to his or her board responsibilities for that to be included in the district. So, sure.
I think I know the answer to this, but I'm always going to ask. I assume the board does not convene IBN or the Business Advisory Committee. Is that correct?
That's correct. And
Good.
then also, IBN and Budget Advisory makes their recommendations to me, not to the board. So that's a specific tier.
Thanks for that clarification.
Absolutely. Policy BED, meeting procedures. This just updates what we do now. So it adds electronic roll call as a voting method. And it also notes that a recording of the meeting or written minutes are available 3 days after the meeting. So because we have the meeting posted on YouTube, that qualifies for the 3 days.
That also had the update of removing bylaws because we don't have bylaws.
Correct. Yes, and the word bylaws was removed from the titles of the policy, regulation, and Board Member Holcomb. All right, skipping ahead several pages. Okay, I would like to turn it over to Ms. Marshall for her two policies.
Thank you, President Thompson, members of the board, members of cabinet. There are two policies that impact the instructional day. The first one being IHA for the basic instructional program. This is the change in legislation where previously the 9/11 instruction was required for all students, and after implementation last year, they saw that it was not appropriate at certain grade levels. So this has been revised in statute for grades 7 through 12. This goes into effect immediately because 9/11 will occur before the end of September when new legislation takes place. So this will start for this year where it's just students in grades 7 through 12. And then policy JLIF on the sex offender notification. This is not a change in legislation. It has been in legislation. It has just not been in policy. And so ASBA is recommending to add the requirement that if you are a level 1 registered sex offender, that there is that notification to the schools if you are the parent or legal guardian of the child. And then we have procedures that the principals then follow for those people to be on campus. They certainly have the right on campus as the parent or legal guardian of a child, but there are safeguards that are put into effect. So there's nothing for the schools to do on this policy. Just be aware, this is, has always been a requirement of law enforcement to notify the schools, and ASBA is just recommending we add this to policy.
Yes, Ms. Kazi.
So are we going to be adopting the optional language in addition to the recommended language?
I did not see any optional language from ASBA.
It's listed on, it's listed in the attachment. There's a C through F. I had the same question.
Okay. I'll have to relook at that. I did not see that in the policy advisory when I reviewed that.
Okay, thanks.
All right, and then I have two more. Policy CBCA, Delegated Authority. This details additional authority the board may delegate to the superintendent without the need for board approval. So they've added some things to the list, such as procuring goods and services or construction in an amount not to exceed $100,000. It also talks about language related to reduction or increases in employee salary that must be approved by the governing board. So though it is a delegated authority, we cannot be decreasing or increasing salaries without your approval. Madison always meets this high standard. You can see any changes in Dr. Lomeli's personal update every week. Okay. The last one is policy CBI, evaluation of the superintendent. Subheadings were added and language reorganized for clarity, but there is a change here that's new, that typical board policy says that for single-year contracts for superintendents, that the superintendent must be notified by April 15th if the intent is not to renew, and the contract must be offered by May 15th. The new language includes an exception related to if the board calls for an override per ARS 15481, the offer on the contract may go all the way till June 15th. Okay, so that's the new language there. Any questions?
Thanks, Dr. Urin. I mean, it's only 51 different policy changes. Thank you, Ms. Marshall, as well. Are there any further questions? I want to just say thank you for preparing the summary document, that crosswalk, the changes. Some of these are very minor, like you mentioned, that you didn't bring up today, but the board has read through all the documents. This is a first read. We'll have an opportunity to vote on these at our next meeting. Any other questions? Okay, hearing none, we will move on to information items. 7.1, school opening. Dr. Guerin.
Thank you. President Thompson, members of the board, cabinet, and guests. As promised, I'd like to detail through some of the school opening, the first day of school. And so I have some slides to go along with it. Thank you, Danielle. So I'm going to talk about enrollment and projects first. So for our enrollment summary, we're trending slightly down from last year, which is not a surprise. We understand that there is a decline in birth rate. We are seeing the decline in birth rate right now at the elementary level. And so what's challenging about that is that pocket of grades right around first, second, third grade, they will continue to move through our system all the way through 8th grade. So right now what we're noticing is our middle schools have more students and some wait lists, and our elementary schools are down in some. What was very promising though is our numbers are holding with just a very slight decrease, and in some schools up from last year. So that is promising that there's more 5-year-olds out there. We are going to engage our demographer again. I know Mr. Thompson's already working on that just because the landscape continues to change. There's much happening with federal policy that is impacting enrollment in districts all around the valley. And in addition to the decline in birth rates, the Empowerment Scholarship accounts the cost of that next year is going to hit $1 billion. So that also is students that are potentially not attending public schools. So the demographer will hone in on some of that new data, and we will present that to the board. But our student enrollment in Madison, in talking to our neighborhood districts, was less impacted than our neighbors. So we are holding steady with a slight decline. Now, I will be able to provide more specific numbers after the 10th day. The 10th day is when all the districts in Arizona withdraw the students who have not yet attended school for any of the days. So we continue to enroll students. Our schools are working hard to make phone calls asking, did you know school started? In some cases they did not, especially because it's so hot. It just doesn't feel like we should be here, right? So we're reaching out to families. So our data will continue to fluctuate. So at the next board meeting, it will be after our 10th day. I'll provide an update. And then at the following meeting, Mr. Thompson will provide a more comprehensive view of our enrollment. And then, if you could go to the next slide, I have a couple photos. I'm going to talk about opening of school. I want to thank our leaders, our staff, our students, and our parents for navigating several construction projects. They absolutely end up making things beautiful and better, but of course there's always some pain to go around navigating that. We're so fortunate to have these campus upgrades in progress, and as always, thank you to our voters for supporting our bond election to ensure we continue to make campus improvements and provide just really spectacular learning environments that our students deserve. So first up, the Meadows Gym remodel. I don't have a photo of that, but it is an upgraded gym that will be finished in January with some new shared use space, and it's just going to be absolutely beautiful. I know the Meadows community has been waiting for that, so we're excited. You mentioned that there was some changes in drop-off procedure, and we're also navigating having sports in the heat without a gym. So on the left, you will see the addition of Park, 6 additional classrooms. Our enrollment is up at Park, and we need more room, and we're adding 6 classrooms onto the back of the building. And I mean, I was out there one day, and a couple days later, the second floor was up. So it is going.
That picture is at least a week old because it's already higher than that, I can say.
Really?
Yep.
Really? Okay, amazing. So I took this one with my phone. I was pretty impressed with how fast it's going up. And it's great to need the extra space at Madison Park. At Madison Simus, we have the Diamondback field going up, and there will be a dedication and ribbon cutting, and it's with partnership with the Rams organization. So we're really excited. That's going to be an absolutely beautiful field, and it's almost done. The Rose Lane rebuild. I absolutely love that the Rose Lane staff wore their construction hats and vests to our Welcome Back staff kickoff to highlight that they are living through a complete school renovation that will be absolutely beautiful. It's already underway, and thanks to the Rose Lane community for navigating that construction and switching of pickup drop-off and where we put the bus and all of the things that goes along with that. But with an eye on student safety, we have a very specific multi-step plan to manage that. And then Simus and Heights got some new playground equipment as well. So a lot going on in the district, and that is a rendering of the playground equipment on the right. So just a few first week highlights, and I guess if you go to the next slide, you're going to see the pictures as I talk about them, so that would be great. Okay, so we did, as board members mentioned, we had a really fun welcome back event where all of the staff can fit into the Madison Center for the Arts, and you can see the picture on the top left of the staff celebrating. The theme this year was Madison is Magical, and how we can make learning magical for our students and really celebrate every day, and how much we all love to be in this community, and that this community is a gift. So it was a great way to come together as one, all 8 schools and all the departments, just in celebration of public education and our calling to really make students have fantastic experiences here. And of course, we always have our burritos, which are a huge hit. And board members mentioned all the prizes that the generous community and governing board members donate, so our staff can have some gift cards and whatnot to kick off the school year. I'd like to also thank the staff for the Welcome Meet the Teacher events. There was several going on at different times of day. I know Simus had one, I believe, the day before school, and I was visiting Simus right in the thick of it, and there was a lot of students and parents school supplies being dropped off. I know that takes a lot of work to get ready, and Ms. Kazi, I appreciate your quote on how much effort it goes behind the scenes to have it all come together and be great, and now we have the important curriculum nights coming up. I also want to thank Ed Services for a fantastic day-and-a-half new teacher orientation to support some folks that are brand new first-year classroom ever teachers, and others that are experienced staff coming from other places to make sure that they have all the support they need. The picture on the bottom right is all the new teachers, and I want to thank the Ed Services Department for a really engaging, fantastic day-and-a-half. We did have a visit from Governor Hobbs at Madison Park on the second day of school, which was just such an honor, but a heavy lift on the second day of school. So thank you for the park staff and communications and food and nutrition services. You can see there's one picture here where we're posing with Governor Hobbs. I think my favorite photo, and you can see it on the website, is her with the food and nutrition staff, and then also with the students. She ate lunch with 3 students and talked about what school lunch means to them, and we all know how important it is for students to feel nourished and so they can focus, and our nutrition department does just such an incredible job. So she was here to highlight that she worked for legislation so that the reduced meals were also included free of charge for students that meet that criteria. I heard the new drop-off procedure at Park shaved 15 minutes off drop-off from one of our board members. So kudos to Principal Gossett for that. 15 minutes, that's a lot. So when you get a new campus rebuild and you try things out, you hone as you go, and that was exciting. I am so excited about a new bus at Madison Traditional Academy. This has been a request for years. As you know, MTA is a boundaryless school, so we don't provide transportation. But it can be very challenging for pick up and drop off, and we have requests from the neighbors, and we do the best we can with that 5-acre lot. But now we have a bus that takes 59 students, last time I asked, over to a neighboring church, and the parents pick them up there. So that's 59 less cars in the drop-up pickup. So during a bus driver shortage, I want to give kudos to the transportation department for making that happen when it's been really wanted for years. So that's great for that community. And then I just want to finish off by welcoming our new kindergartners, our students and families. We are so glad you have joined the Madison family. Please let us know if there's anything you need. We are so glad you're here. We have a first day of school video that we'd like to share. And finally, thank you to our communications department for creating these amazing videos to capture the magic in Madison.
Thank you, Dr. Guerin. Are there any questions? Next item on the agenda is discussion on the proposed 2026 ASBA political agenda and the upcoming law conference and delegate assembly. Mr. Hunt, I'm going to kick it to you since you're our delegate.
All right. Well, I think we'll have great attendance at the, this will be my first, but at the delegate assembly over those days from the district and from the board. We adopted our top 5 priorities on May 20th. So you have those in front of you. And then we have the memorandum from the ASBA about the period that will be there and the recommended agenda for the ASBA this year.
Does anybody have any questions or comments or feedback for Mr. Hunt as he takes on his duties at the delegate assembly?
I'll just chime in real quick, because this was my second year on a committee that takes all the districts' top 5, and we compile them all together and we vote on everything that gets submitted, and that becomes this red line version that we got from ASBA. So, yeah, so that was my second time doing that, and thank you to Mr. Hunt for being our delegate. But yeah, all the changes that are being suggested by ASBA are in here, and then of course we can make new ones. I'm sure there'll be people making all kinds of suggestions at the assembly, which you'll get to find out about. But yeah, if we have any other suggestions for Mr. Hunt or anything, we can do that now.
Mr. Holcomb?
Yeah, I just have a question because I've served on that for a couple of years as well. Were there any of these that had, I mean, without getting one way or the other, much a lot of discussion, or
We
had a lot of wordsmithing?
Yes, so we greatly deliberated all of these. And so there were some, and we vote on all of everything. And so there were some that people wanted that didn't get in here because we voted them down. And then the rest were all voted on in very, sometimes laboriously wordsmithed to a little too much, but yes. So all the ones in here we deliberated quite a bit, and then there were some that we also deliberated that didn't make it in here. There were some that were a little out there, but every district that submits something they looked at, and so some districts, some don't submit their top 5 at all, but yeah. So it's a really good process, I think. I'm pretty impressed, and it's well run. And I especially noticed this year that there was a lot of representation from outside of Phoenix and rural districts and outside of Maricopa County. So there was really a good representation too of all the districts. So.
Yeah, I found when I was on it too, one of the most helpful things to me was getting to talk to those out of metropolitan area districts. They had some of their interests and issues, concerns are very different than what it is in the city.
Absolutely, have a lot of different needs, especially the schools on the tribal reservations have a lot of other priorities and stuff. So yeah, we try to incorporate them all. A lot of things we do have in common, but then there's some differences, so we try to make sure everybody's.
I agree, and I was the delegate last year, and I think my advice is, keep an open mind as people are coming up with amendments, but also, listen to folks around the room because, the policies don't just affect our district. There are a lot of issues that we're frankly blessed not to have to deal with, but others are incredibly impacted. So I'd say, keep an open mind as you're listening to some of those amendments, because sometimes people can come forward and say, well, this is a silly idea. No one's dealing with this. And then half the room stands up to tell everybody why. they're dealing with it. So it will be an interesting process for you to take part in. Bring a bottle of water. It's going to take a while.
Yeah, and it actually doesn't have to be water. That may help.
Could be a clear liquid.
We did have, like you mentioned, so we even had, of course, high school, unified districts, but also the technical, like the CTEDs and some of those were also there. So, because those even have different, suggestions too. And again, this is our recommendations for the legislature. This is what ASBA, when they go to the legislature, and representing all of us as districts, this is what, like, our wish list. This does not mean, a lot of people at the assembly, you'll also, they think we're like writing legislation. We're like, this is not, this is just so, thank you.
It's kind of the parameters, right, that ASBA is going to use to determine whether or not they take a position on one of the 300, 400 bills that impact education every year. And having that mindset, I think, is important, because everything isn't going to be critical for any one of us, but being keenly aware of the things that are most important to us as a district, and making sure that the language stays clear on that. And I think, our top priorities are clear on that, and I think they're all included in one way or another.
Exactly.
in
I
the
usually
document.
check to make sure, like, while I'm at the meeting, that ours are in there in some language or
Close enough.
form.
Yeah. Okay. Any other input for Mr. Hunt? Mr. Hunt, do you have any questions for us?
I don't.
Okay.
I will be there to support you from way in the back.
Just in case you need to leave the room and tag out, because that needs to happen sometimes. Okay. Next item on the agenda is future meetings. Dr. Guerin.
President Thompson, members of the board, cabinet, and guests. Our next meeting, as I mentioned, I will provide an enrollment update after the 10th day. We also will be detailing results of our parent survey. So please know that school teams dove into that data this summer as part of the SIAP plan, and so Mr. Pienkowski will share that data with you. We are just going to bring back those policies again, and I believe we will take them unless there's recommended changes. With the ones without recommended changes, we'll just take them as one big grouping. And then it's important to note, on September 9th, we're already starting our study session, our SIAP processes, and that will start at 2:15 before our regular board meeting. So we will try to keep the regular board meetings when we have SIAP sessions before a little on the short side, since you will have been with us for most of the day. And it is important also to note that we will start You Make a Difference Shining Star on that day. So we will have more folks in the audience.
Okay. Any items for Dr. Guerin? Yes, Mr. Holcomb.
Yeah, and whether it's in the Friday report or related to this, just to answer the question about whether we're looking at those alternative provisions that highlighted.
Absolutely.
Any other items? Okay, with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn?
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Gresham, seconded by Mr. Holcomb. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. We're adjourned.